What's going on? So today I'm gonna be walking you through how one of our realtors met 4 seller leads in person after only 1 month after starting with us and strategies we did to get them these results. But let's just dive in, right? So the first point I want to talk about is setting the expectations correctly. So now, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that generating leads and then calling them a bunch of times is enough to convert them, right? And having a bunch of like cool automations, text messages, sending them a bunch of cool text messages and saying, hey, following up on my previous text, did you get a chance, whatever. I'm not saying those don't work because we use AI too to follow up with people, but if that's the only thing you're doing to get these people, to convert these guys, you're gonna have a tough time, right? The biggest problem is that these guys don't know who you are, why you're calling, and especially, I always emphasize this key point, especially because again, me and my all my best clients, top producers, especially have been doing this for a while, all agree on this, that these guys don't think they need us yet. And so our goal your goal if you're a realtor is to demonstrate them, okay, this is why you need me, right? And so a way you can do it is by setting the expectations correctly and at the same time educating them on why do they need you, right? And so again, I really learned watching my clients that messaging comes first. You can do everything right, but if messaging is this messaging is messed up, everything else is gonna fail, right? And so put yourself into the shoes of your seller lead who just came in and they don't know anything about you, right? These guys, they click on a random ad on social media, Google, YouTube, whatever it is, but they don't know you yet. They don't know why should they talk to you. So when you call, if you don't set the expectations, they're not going to recognize your voice, right? And at that point, they don't recognize your voice, they don't recognize your name, they don't know who you are, they're going to be super skeptical. That's why they hang up. That's why you're having a tough time converting these guys. It's because you're missing the messaging step. Messaging is not about having a cool copy on your ad on social media. Messaging is about presenting yourself to them before you even call them in the first place, right? So especially this is true since 2024, trust is at an all-time low, right? So you cannot afford to just go to these guys and just tell them, hey, when you want to sell, treating them like a Zillow leads. These guys are not Zillow leads. Your goal when you're generating these online leads is to build a database that's going to be profitable in the future. Because if you think about it, what's going to happen next in the future? A lot of people are underestimating this impact that, this is going to happen over the next few years. This is not happening now yet. But, if you think about it, if a lot of people are just now starting their journey, opting into these things, and you as a realtor say, oh no, I don't want to deal with these guys. I just want to deal with the guys who are going to sell tomorrow, right? Next month, or just with the guys who are going to, arrive to me and come to me and say, hey, look, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's, right? You're going to be missing out on all these top of the funnel people. And I think ultimately, in a few years, I don't know when specifically, that's kind of my prediction, these guys are not going to exist anymore simply because they're already working with that realtor who's been in touch with them since they started their journey. And so that's what I'm talking about. And again, later I'm gonna kind of cover this more in depth. But right now, just remember that trust is sitting in an all-time low. And so if they hear an unknown voice mention a quote-unquote home valuation, right? After 2 days, they opted in to random things on social media. Sometimes even after 2 weeks, right? They don't even remember at all. And so you already know what's next. They just hang up, say, no, I didn't request any home valuation, or maybe they're just gonna hit you with some objection. And if you don't have a good objection handling techniques or script, you're gonna basically find it impossible to convert these guys and to get them over the finish line, right? So our strategy with Telly to set the expectations correctly was, okay, we started by recording a video, right? We started by recording a video on not on social media, not on the front end, but on the back end, right? That's something I always emphasize, because again, like, essentially, if you don't do it, they don't know your voice. The fact that they know your voice is such a crazy competitive advantage you have, because a lot of realtors might be calling them, to be honest. They're not opting in only in your ad, but they're also opting in like maybe like 3-4 other ads in your area, right? So if you think about it, the fact that they know your voice already is already something that makes you different, right? And so if the goal is being different, right, that's gonna massively help you out, stand out from your competition, right? And so what did he say in the video? So the message that he conveyed, like, it could be like help the fact that he was saying, look, like, I know you're probably expecting, an automated valuation, whatever, but the whole message is to convey the fact that the reason why this guy's need him is because he's gonna deliver something accurate, not like those Zillow, Zestimate, online valuations that are inaccurate at times, right? And so if you think about it, maybe in the video you might mention, hey, like, in the video, you didn't mention specific case studies, but one thing you could do if you're also in a big city, you could mention some case studies you had with your clients where, hey, like, this was the Zestimate valuation, this was the actual valuation. If you sold at that price point, his home will have stayed on the market for forever, right? Or maybe will have lost 10% of the money, right? And also, like, the real thing is all about being human, being about a real human being. And if you can showcase that, if you can show that while you're recording this video, again, that's gonna be a massive competitive advantage, because this guy's already like, they kind of really see you kind of as a friend more than just a random realtor calling them on the phone. The goal is that they don't see you as a random telemarketer cold calling them, but as an advisor, as an expert. And the way you convey that is by setting the expectation correctly and say, look, like, I'm gonna deliver this through a phone call, right? Say that, because it's not clear. If you're doing the bait and switch offer to where the bait is like, yes, we'll get you a instant, quick, free, automated valuation now, and then you call them, you're doing the bait and switch. These guys are becoming more and more sophisticated. You might have some luck with some prospects, but a lot of them are sophisticated. All the home sellers know what's going on. You just did the bait and switch. They're gonna hang up and they're never gonna call you again. And they're gonna list their home with somebody else, right? They're gonna list, because think about it. They requested an valuation. They probably want to list. And again, if they said in the form maybe they want to list in like less than 6 months, they're gonna list their home with somebody else just because you did that bait and switch, right? And so also two is not dedicating himself to everyone, right? So point 2 is all about not dedicating himself to quote unquote everyone, right? A big problem I see listening to agents is that they have leads in their pipeline. They don't know if they're actually, like, they have these leads in the pipeline and they don't know if they are real or not, right? And that's a big problem because you have like this homeowner and you don't have a tool to verify, you don't even have an address. You don't even have like a phone number. If you don't have a phone number, it's actually quite hard, right, to verify if they're actually the homeowner, right? So before you even call somebody, you need to make it a bit hard for them to get in, right? Don't just write out like a Facebook form with name, email, phone, and that's it. Or if you're running Google Ads, don't just make a landing page asking for a name and an email, not even a phone number. Because again, yes, they're browsing to get a valuation, but that doesn't mean they're real. Could be like a lot of times could be final hackers, etc. So if you don't ask for a phone, at least for a phone, you're missing out, right? Because again, it's gonna cost you so much time. You're gonna just waste time on this, guys, right? And so don't advertise also like a quick valuation. Again, don't do the bait and switch. I see a lot of people make this mistake. Don't make the bait and switch offer. These guys are sophisticated enough to know it. Just say it, right? Don't advertise a quick valuation. Don't even say, okay, like I'm gonna do a 45-minute call and then maybe I'm gonna give you a valuation. Don't say that, right? But at the same time, don't say like I'm gonna give you a quick automated text evaluation in 3 seconds and then you call them after 10 minutes. Like, it's just these guys would never even want to talk to you ever again, right? And so again, like what I'm saying here, if you have a meager budget, or if you're in an expensive city like LA and you have no other option to get a bit of volume, you might do like something like that. Don't do it too much to where it's just so much different. But if you're in a big city like Los Angeles or San Diego and the cost per lead is super, the cost per click is high, cost per lead is high, and you have a meager budget, you still want to advertise, you might even try like to do something like this. Don't do a bait and switch, but maybe just remove a bit of a friction there, right? Instead, if you're in a city like could be Charlotte, North Carolina, the friction you're gonna have is gonna be different, of course, right? If you want to add even more friction, let's say you're in a small area and you can afford it, right? Or let's say you have a big budget, you can afford to have more friction. If you have like spending $50 a day, you can definitely have, ask them about how many beds and baths they have, not just because you need it, because to be honest, that data is probably online, but it gets them into that state. Okay, like a lot of guys are gonna quit because they have to answer how many beds, how many baths, or something they're looking to sell. But if you don't have a meager budget, you might want to test this out, because again, if you manage to yes, you get a higher cost per lead. I'm a fan of, yes, the cost per lead is high, but if you're spending quite a bit of money, you can afford it, right? As long as you get a few people a day, not just one a week, right? You can afford it. Of course, if you're spending $20 a day, and you ask that, it might be a bit tricky to get traction, right? And so people sometimes may not even ask for the phone number. And so how can you build a relationship if you can't even text and call the lead, right? Phone number is required, right? Absolutely a must. Like you have to do it, require the phone number. Otherwise, you're just wasting time. I talked with a realtor in Michigan, and he told me that, he was generating these leads, but he didn't even have the phone number. So let's say this guy didn't reply to his email with the CMA. It was over. Basically, you couldn't call them legally. Of course, like the only reason why you want to have a phone number is because if you have it, it is legal to call them. If you don't, it just becomes B2C, and there's all thousands of rules around that. Also, to text them, it becomes kind of legal. You have to, it's not legal to text somebody who didn't request anything, etc. So, just for legal purpose, like just for talking about legal stuff, just fix that just by asking the phone number, right? Now, quick note on validation. So it might happen that at times people give you inaccurate names and numbers, right? And so you need to make sure you automate their validation, right? You don't wanna manually go into Google, look for their number, look for their email. You're going to waste potentially hours to do that. Just depending on the software you use, you're going to be able to see if the email sent was actually delivered to the inbox, or if the message that was sent was delivered to a landline number, to an fake number, whatever, right? So for example, with our software, what we do is as soon as the first message gets sent, we are able to see, okay, that number is a landline. We don't want to waste time with that, right? And so again, tips to avoid fake details. I hate them as much as you do. Now I'll present you with some solution to prevent this in the front, because it is terrible. Like when you are so excited, you go into your CRM and you see a fake number, it is really, really terrible, right? You don't want to do that, right? So an example could be open source code on GitHub to validate number on your form. So number one, go to nonvalidate.com. I don't even know if that's totally free, so not like sponsored or anything. Like just go there. There's this code here, right? And so as you can see, for this code, this code will basically validate the number, right? And also there's another way to do that. Essentially, depending on the software, you're gonna be able to add like a checkbox to where if they're a landline, they have to receive a text to their mobile before opting in. That is like really hard friction. That's gonna skyrocket your cost per lead. But if you want to test it out, just do it, right? Try it on. Then second, outlining big instructions like valid contact info required. You get confirmation by a call, mobile number, etc. So don't be afraid to put in bold the information you're requesting. So if you're requesting, don't just write number, just write what's the best number to text the value to mobile, for example. So now they see, okay, they're gonna call, or maybe you receive confirmation by a call. Okay, they're gonna call me, right? They put in bold, right? They need valid contact info required, and they're gonna call me to get evaluation. I have to put the right number. If after doing this they don't give you the right number, just leave them alone. It's just not worth wasting your time with these guys. Like, it's not like, again, like my realtor did not dedicate himself to everyone, right? The reason why he got such crazy results is that he spent like 3 hours, that's gonna be a third point, to do one like CMA, really good CMA, right? And so if you think about it, imagine you're a home seller and you get that like crazy. But he didn't do that for every single lead, right? So important that you can verify if they're the homeowner, they're real people, etc., right? Also remember, your offer will determine the leads you get. So if you advertise for something quick and maybe via text, you get people who want that. You get people who want something quick. So if you say, get your 20 seconds valuation, you get people who want a 20-second valuation, right? And so also, don't do the bait and switch. Don't do it, right? Again, like I said earlier, don't do the bait and switch. Again, if you test friction out in your city and you see, okay, like this friction is too much, and if they say, I'm gonna do evaluation by a call before they opt in and not gonna get any leads, you might try something to where you say, I'm gonna text the evaluation, then you actually text them, like we do, for example, for some of our clients, we use an AI bot who texts them as soon as they come in after like 5 minutes. And so this is not something universal though. Like every market is different. For example, like Los Angeles, Delaware, this, like you're advertising in Los Angeles, cost per lead is going to be 3 times higher than advertising in Delaware, right? Or, advertising in Arkansas, right? Like it's going to be massively different. Again, real estate is something you have to test out per city, per market, per area, right? It's not something universal, okay? And so budget also plays a role, because again, if you have a higher budget, you can add more friction in, right? But if you have a meager budget, forget about friction, right? Like, I'm not saying forget about it, just be smart, right? Don't just focus. Again, it's all about finding the sweet spot between volume and friction, right? If you have a low budget, you need to find the sweet spot. It might be a bit harder to find that, right? So, and if you have a higher budget, it's just easy, just go to friction. But if you have a meager budget, you need to find that sweet spot where you're not getting one lead a week, because if you just get one a week, that day is a bad day, busy day, and maybe you cannot even call the lead, you're wasting time. Instead, if you add too much volume to where you're just wasting time calling a bunch of numbers not even real, you're wasting time, right? So you need to find the sweet spot. If you have a higher budget, my advice, just go. If you're spending more than $30 a day, right, $35 a day, $40 a day, more than that, if you're spending more than that, just go to just try to add as many friction as you possibly can, right? Because it's gonna be so easy to really succeed with that, because again, you're still gonna get volume, but at the same time, the volume will get so good, they're gonna train the algorithm on on the good people that you want, right? So the whole reason why I decided to include this point is just, again, he did not dedicate himself to everyone. He met 4 people in person, but he didn't dedicate himself to everyone. That's why he succeeded. That's why he won so much. It's because, again, fake number. Or yes, he still uses Forewarn. That's an app you can use. He uses $20 a month yearly plan to check like criminal records, etc. And one lady had the typo in her number, so he went on and checked that. But most of the times, just have something automated that will validate the numbers and just go for it. Now, the last important point, having the right plan in place to get in front of them, right? And so if you don't have a plan right now to follow up with your leads, you can just go to my channel, watch some of these videos I posted about follow-up plan, and basically just copy and paste that into whatever strategy you're using right now, right? But aside from having a plan, right, like that's really important, that having a plan, you need to have a plan to get in front of them, not just to follow up with them, but getting in front of them, right? And so what he did is, aside from the recent video I posted about this, right, called everybody after 5 minutes, even if it was a terrible time for him, right? That's what all our clients do. They call everybody within 5 minutes, no matter what, even if they're busy. And then, like I said in the latest video I posted about this, if they're busy, they just tell them, look, I know that right now, I know right now is a terrible time for me. Can I just give you a call back later? What time? Cool. Arrange a time. And then they will basically book the appointment from there and just go from there, right? And so then drop the CMAs, spend 2 hours to do one CMAs, right? So one thing I also see a lot of agents don't do, they don't drop CMAs. That's such a big mistake. You're missing out a lot of money. Ask the top producer in your city, or ask the top producer in your team advertising, or ask whatever. You find a lot of people who are successful with this leads who are not ready to sell tomorrow, not even next year, right? Of course, like one thing I didn't say about like following up, like not dedicating himself to everyone, of course, by adding a bit of friction, we were able to know, okay, like is this guy, when is this guy going to sell? Like 6 months or like in a year, right? Because if he's going to sell in a year, that's going to be a bit of a waste of time, right? You still want to provide value, but they're going to sell in a year, right? And so again, call everybody after 5 minutes if it was a terrible time for him, and drop CMAs, spend 2 hours to do one CMA. So one thing, you're already dropping CMAs, but you're not spending your time to do them. So he spent 2 hours to do one CMA. Again, this lady was really hot. She gave him a lot of details. He knew basically everything about the home, right? So he could do that. If they don't give you many details and you still want to drop the CMA to make that contact in person, just do a 1 to 2 pages. We do have templates in our program, of course, but it's really easy. Just do a 1 to 2 pages CMA. Just just say you cannot give them like a accurate value just because, again, like they didn't give you any information. Like if they just don't respond at all, just do 1 to 2 pages CMA. Just still provide value, still add a gift, still a letter. Drop that on in person, right? Do that drive, right? Even if they're a bit far away, do drive to their home. This is so important. Do the do the work, right? The end of the day is all about doing that, right? There's one quote later I included about this, but you can have the best leads out there. If you don't do the work, that's not gonna matter. And part of this is also driving 30 minutes to drop a CMA. Nobody else is doing that, right? So these guys are gonna know, right? And so nobody else is doing that 30 minutes, 40-minute drive to drop the CMA. Maybe once you're in that neighborhood, start door knocking, whatever, to get some leads out of it, right? Or maybe, I don't know, just get creative with that, and do not think that is a waste of time. That is the best way to spend your time, right? And so, like, a lot of people are scared to do the work with online leads because they think they can play the referral game and wait because they'll reach out when ready. In reality, they don't reach out when they're ready because they already have a realtor, right? You don't want that to happen, right? And so if you think about it, the future is dealing with people who are not selling tomorrow, at the same time, not in 3 years, right? But not selling tomorrow. The future is dealing with people who are still trying to get clarity on their future, coming to them as an expert, being a consultant, being an advisor, like Jed emphasized in the masterclass I posted on YouTube. If you didn't watch it, go watch it now. There's a pretty good masterclass he gave about the way he approaches these leads after being in the business for over 21 years. And so go and watch that. But at the same time, like, again, the future is dealing with this, guys, because like I said earlier in the video, if you don't have if you don't deal with this, guys, I'm not gonna sell tomorrow. They still need help, get some clarity, right? If you don't do the hard work, and you just wait for some people being ready, you just stay with your circle. But the problem is that in a few years, right, the people who do this are gonna create a new circle or a new whole circle, right? And so again, like I said here, right, quick note, the future of referrals is having a circle that you created by dealing with people who are not ready tomorrow, right? Then I'm gonna touch base on that later. But again, if you give them clarity, if you can be a resource for them, if after that phone call they can say, hey, like, this guy was amazing, he provided such a crazy amount of value, I want to list with them, right? Or at least that after that call, I learned something new. They must say that. That's the key, right? And so if you can be a resource for them, go the extra mile to get in front of them, like driving to their home to drop the CMA off, spending time crafting it, adding gifts. Then if you can give them clarity, right, and be a resource for them, like if you can go the extra mile to get in front of them, like driving to their home to drop the CMA off, spending time crafting it, adding gifts, you'll be rewarded, because at the end, they're gonna list with the one who went the extra mile. That's it. Like that at the end of the day, like they're not gonna list. They might list with their brother, with their cousin. You never know. It's not something you can control, unfortunately. Yeah, you can kind of control it if you deliver such a good job. But what I'm saying is that if you go the extra mile, oftentimes they'll list with you, right? And so I always say this: these homeowners are super picky. They still need to come into the work, right? You still need to do that through that step. But once you do, game over, right? You can now literally buy listings. You put more, you get more. So what Howie did, touching on this, is that he spent, again, 2 hours to do one CMA. Think about it. Every Saturday, he drives to deliver these CMAs, sometimes doing about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, right? It's like, it's gonna win no matter what. This guy's he's driving, is doing the work to get in front of them. These guys know that, and they respect the hustle, absolutely, right? And so that's why he met 4 in person. He went, like, 2 of them, like, he went there, went to the home, and they just opened the door, right? I don't remember if like 1 or 2, but he was really successful doing this CMA drop, and that's something he always emphasizes. But what he's keen on is not just dropping that one page. If they give you the details, spend the time and provide something that actually valuable, right? And so, yeah, remember just one point here. These homeowners are super picky, right? Super important. Like I said earlier, super picky. They'll pick the one who does the most work, basically, right, to get them, right? And so, what I was talking about earlier about referrals is, if you did such a great job with them the first time, then, right, they refer you to other people, like friends and family. At that point, you're just creating 10 circles, right? It's never ending. It's something that's never ending. You do such a great job with 4 people you met online, like lead gen, etc. Now these 4 people might refer you to like 4 people. Like it's crazy. It's something that's never ending, and you build such a crazy referral. You'll be like almost like something that's gonna make this lead gen worth in and of itself just by having referrals in, right? And so you shouldn't see Legend as getting that listing and just they're getting that guaranteed listing. So whatever. You should see the lead gen as building a database to provide value to a lot of people. These guys get to know you, get to know your brand, get to know your person, right? You become known in your city, in your area. You become the go-to expert, right? And then you do such a great job, they have to refer you to their friends and family, right? And so, again, I want to emphasize this, ads are not get a rich quick scheme. Ads are not that. So if you think about it, if you think the ads are going to be a get rich quick scheme, you're gonna come in and get a listing tomorrow or next month, ads are not for you, because ads are for people who are actually ready and prepared to play the long-term game, right? And they don't care about getting the listing tomorrow, because they know it takes time in real estate, because these guys are making the biggest move of their life. And if they wanted to sell tomorrow, they probably would have already a realtor. It's really rare you met leads want to sell tomorrow or next week or in 2 weeks online, because these guys are preparing ahead of the future. That doesn't mean they're going to sell in years, but at the same time, that means that you got to approach these leads with the right mentality. So like I said in the video I posted about conversion, probably was about the approach you have to these leads. You cannot ask questions like, when are you going to sell? Like, these guys, they're going to tell you, I'm not ready, right? You need to ask the right questions based off this right philosophy you have about going after those leads, right? And so what I learned from this is that, again, this is the quick note, I already talked about this, is how much freaking value you provide to the lead. This is going to be in the doc. Go the extra mile with all your leads and you see what happens next. So if you find this valuable, go to the description and grab this doc now so you have it and you always be able to come back to this. Remember this stuff every single time you do lead gen and you might feel a bit lost or maybe your leads are not converting. Just come back to this doc and you probably find why, right? And so ultimately, it's all about getting in front of them. All about that. Talk about with a lot of successful agents on a regular basis. And if I had to boil down what makes these people so successful, it's not that they're all insanely innovative and breaking new grounds. It's one simple common trait. They're doing the work. So I end this video with this quote, because that is a pretty good quote that from Tom Ferriss, and that's something I really, really believe in, since again, the whole point is just doing the work, going the extra mile, and then not dedicating yourself to everybody. That's how Realtor met so many people in person after only 1 month with a meager budget. I hope you find this video valuable. Now, if you want to grab this doc, just go below, go in the description and grab it there. You see a link in the description, right? And also, if you want to learn how we can actually help you out doing this stuff, go below. Second link is going to bring you to account. Feel free to book a call with me and I'll personally walk you through all our strategies, how we do this, and how we could do this for you in your market, right? Thanks a lot, and I'll see you inside our next video.